Professor Jacob always looked forward to the arrival of spring on the East Coast, when the early morning sun slipped through the windows and painted the campus in gold. Everything seemed to come alive, as if the world had just woken from a long nap. Even students, sleepy as they were, felt the stirrings of new energy, at least in theory. I remember sitting in the third row of Mr. Jacob's world history class, desperately fighting the urge to nod off. "This is important, everyone," he would say, tapping his notes with a flourish. The Silk Road connected East Asia, Central Asia, India, the Middle East, and even the Mediterranean. It raised living standards, spread China's four great inventions, and drove the machinery of civilization forward. I wanted to listen truly, but my eyelids grew heavier with every word. I rubbed my face, pinched my thigh, even asked my friend Nick to twist my arm, a time-honored tradition among drowsy students. Why am I still so tired? I wondered. Falling asleep in class is a universal pain, one that spares no one. From New York to San Francisco. In my own high school days, we tried everything. Patting our heads, pinching our thighs, chewing on coffee beans, even dabbing cold water on our faces, especially when the AC was broken and the air was heavy with summer heat. But none of those tricks seemed to last. When I got to college, though, I stumbled onto some real science-backed ways to fight fatigue. No pain, no weird oils, just practical hacks that actually worked. First, there's what I call the focus spin. Grab a thin textbook or a sturdy notebook, something not too heavy. When drowsiness creeps in, put the book between your knees and try to keep it from falling. Or, if you prefer, balance a pen on the edge of your desk and try not to let it roll off. If you drop it, pause for 10 seconds, then try again. It's oddly effective. After just a few minutes, I'd find myself wide awake. Second, there's the diet shift. It may sound obvious, but cutting down on carbs and boosting protein can keep your brain alert. So if you slept badly and you know you'll be tired, plan your lunch accordingly. Cornbread, roasted chicken, a glass of milk, maybe a handful of black beans or scrambled eggs. Foods rich in protein help the brain produce chemicals that keep us focused, while heavy carbs just make us sleepier. It's a simple adjustment, but the results are real. Finally, there's the environmental shift. Ever notice how, in a packed lecture hall, students at the back or sides are always the first to drift off? Where you sit matters. Proximity to the front, or even just a seat by the aisle, can make all the difference. Sometimes, it's the little changes that transform our days. But if spring is in the air, as it is now, even the brightest classroom can become a sleep sanctuary. The science behind it is simple. In crowded rooms, oxygen runs low, especially as warm weather sets in. Our bodies adjust, blood vessels expand, skin flushes, and the brain gets a little less oxygen, leading to that irresistible urge to doze. For anyone with allergies or sinus troubles, the effect is even stronger. Sometimes, just staying awake feels like a minor miracle. That's when I learned to outsmart my own biology. During breaks, I'd grab my bag and make a beeline for a seat by the window, letting the crisp Connecticut breeze clear my head. A simple shift, but it worked every time. There's another trick, but I admit it's not for everyone and should be used in moderation. Sometimes, when nothing else worked, I'd pull out my phone and answer a couple of silly quiz questions or scroll through a meme or two. Strangely, This tiny jolt of novelty snapped me out of my slump. But be warned, it's easy to get sucked in and lose track of the lecture entirely. For those moments when nothing works and the haze won't lift, I discovered my ultimate weapon: coffee. Not just any coffee, but what I call the digital series. Each cup with a different flavor for a different time of day. Morning, go for a light roast with a hint of citrus. Late morning, if there's a lull, choose something darker and smooth. In the lazy afternoons, pick a blend with caramel and a touch of smokiness. With each sip, I imagined the fog clearing, ideas sharpening, the world waking up again. The real secret? Keep it simple. A bottle of water, a sensible meal, maybe a multivitamin, and one well-chosen cup of inspiration. Sometimes, that's all you need to turn a groggy class into a moment of clarity. And so, fellow students and fellow travelers on this road of learning, if you have your own tips for staying awake, don't keep them to yourself. Share them, pass them on. The pursuit of knowledge is a journey best traveled awake. In today's fast-paced world, the struggle to stay alert and engaged, whether in the classroom, the workplace, or even in daily Zoom meetings, remains as real as ever. Just as the story's students battled spring drowsiness and tried creative ways to stay awake, many of us find ourselves fighting fatigue amid crowded offices, stuffy rooms, or long hours in front of screens. The lesson is timeless. Small changes in our habits and environments can make a big difference. If you often feel sluggish, try adjusting your diet to include more protein and fewer heavy carbs. Step outside for fresh air when possible, and be mindful of your workspace. Sitting by a window or moving around during breaks can boost your alertness. And while a quick scroll through your phone or a good cup of coffee can help, remember to use these tools wisely so they don't become distractions. Most importantly, listen to your body. Sometimes, a brief reset is all you need to regain clarity and energy in our ever-demanding lives.